It's a deep-rooted issue. A lot of veterans don't like to talk about it, and it's also a trust issue that we don't trust a lot of people with some of our issues.
For
So
Dr.
I think
Maxine
with
T.
regard
Mathis of the American Legion, Post 398, helping veterans find resources to aid with their medical and personal needs upon their return home has become her full-time job.
As a member of the Colonel Charles Young Post 398, I've decided to put myself out there and be a resource for all of the veterans who come home so that they would be able to find out what works for them and be able to point them in the appropriate place for them to get help.
Mathis was one of 11 honorees at the Honor Our Veterans Day lunch hosted by United States Representative Adriano Espaillat. While Mathis works to make resources available for veterans, Espaillat believes there is still more work to be done, especially in terms of taking care of women in the armed forces.
It's not enough. It must be more of that, particularly for women in the armed forces, that unfortunately have to go to a hospital for one type of test and then have to go all the way out to Brooklyn or Queens or Staten Island for another test. Each veterans hospital must have all the equipment for testing women. I think women have special needs and we must address them.
We're not doing enough. That's the problem, is that there's a lot of focus, I think, and there's a lot of desire to help, but that's not always translated into actual help. We have a suicide rate amongst military and veterans that is continuing to go in the wrong direction. It's only going up.
Honoree and CEO of the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, the IAVA, Jeremy Butler, addressed the issue of rising suicide rates among veterans. The IAVA is currently supporting the General John Scott Hannon Mental Health Improvement Act, which works to increase the amount of support going to state and local organizations in order to ensure that veterans receive the care they need.
We know that veterans across our city, across our state, and across the nation have been suffering from not having the adequate resources when it comes to housing, mental health, and definitely we want to honor them for their sacrifices.
New York State Assembly member Carmen De La Rosa was among the 9 elected officials invited to speak at the lunch, which also included Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. and Manhattan Borough President Gail Brewer. As the youngest New York State Assembly member, De La Rosa holds a special appreciation for veterans.
We know peace. Our generation knows a semblance of peace because of the sacrifices that have been made by the men and women who have served. And so in this time, I think it's important for us as a community to take a moment to really recognize that sacrifice.
Representative Adriano Espaillat is currently working on the Gold Star Family Bill and the Women Should Have Access to All Equipment Bill to help veterans upon their return back home. Reporting for Bronxnet, Jericho Tran.